All right, so before we start learning the contents of this new topic, I would like to discuss with you that if you are in Start Here folder and Management Accounting Assignments file, PDF file, and you can see that there is a second B, which means second assignment, which is Corporate Risk Management, which you are now working on. This is based on the derivative contracts. Remember, I told you last week that the first assignment's main role was to identify risk and threats. And in this assignment, you will be trying to hedge, protect, safeguard those risks by using a medicine treatment therapy called derivatives. And these derivatives include many things, but you will only cover 4 things. Forwards, I discussed last week, futures, options, swaps. I have a small reservation that maybe I shall not be able to cover swap because of this less time which I have now because of this developments. So your syllabus is wherever I stop today. All right, that is syllabus. So most likely I would be in a position to include futures and options. I have a small doubt if I would be able to cover swap, but maybe in some other course, no problem. Those who will be choosing finance track, they would do these things anyway, so not a big deal. Hi, Lisa, come, you're welcome. Yes, so I want to go through some of these nitty-gritty of this assignment, which you will be doing. Once again, you'll be having a multinational company, a non-financial company. I would prefer that you keep the same firm which you did for the first assignment so that you can have a kind of very thorough discussion. Analyze 1-year report is enough for this task. You don't have to go in the history. Analyze risk management report activities and ascertain the following of the chosen company. Financial risk management policy of the chosen company. You can get all the details in the annual report. So what type of policy they have? Do they have a policy in the first place? The most comical or the most dangerous thing could be that you have a big company worth of hundreds of millions of dollars of assets that don't have a proper risk management policy. What a shame. This could be, it's possible that they don't have even a proper risk management policy, or they have it, but it's so absurd, it's so vague that you cannot make anything out of it. Nature and type of financial risk the company is exposed to. Normally, these risk factors are discussed. If you just, you know what, you make some glossary of keywords, type in the PDF. You don't have to read 300-page long Word file. Don't read it, PDF file, sorry. All you need is to put the right keywords, the search words, and things will show up. Application and what type of instruments or what kind of derivatives the company is using, forward, swaps, options, future, which of them they're using, and are they good for them? You have to write a critique that, for example, let's say BP is using majorly futures. Why don't they use forwards? Or why don't they use options? So you have to make a kind of critical assessment. This is why I said last week also that in this report, you don't have to do data crunching beyond a point. Of course, the data is must. Majorly, it will be more like a consultancy report, more like a descriptive. You're describing what you should do. When you are writing a consultancy report, you are basically suggesting the company that you should do this, you should avoid that, these kind of things. So these are the contents of this report. Lecture slides, of course, will be useful. Recorded sessions will be useful, hopefully. Plus the books, you can. The company's annual reports will be the main data source. Yeah, you can do it in a group still. or individually, no problem. Your the report, your Word file, for sure, and Excel if you want. You need to submit by 23rd of April in the return box, and there is a financial risk analysis return box where you should give it. The presentation day is 24th April, right? You know it. You will come as a group and then make a presentation. Only groups are required to present. Individuals are not supposed to present. And then the exam will be on 8th of May. In the exam, exam is normally an hour and a half long. I would give you 5 questions and you attempt any 3. So once again, it will be 30 minutes per question. It could be possible that I give you 4 questions and you attempt 2. But the point I'm trying to make is that you will have ample choice. Okay. So that's it. And then we can go to our topic. But before we go to this topic, we need to go to the topic we were doing before. Where is that? Topic 1, no, topic 3. And topic 3, we were discussing forwards, I guess. That how you can use the forwards to The second contract, which we shall study today, is called the currency future contract. The forwards for the first one, the future is second. If you see the of futures, it says again 4 specificities. The currency futures or the Forex futures or the FX futures, as we use abbreviation, are exchange traded futures contract to buy or sell. Let me write down again. To buy or sell. Four specific you buy or sell the specific currency, specific amount for the specific time period, and specific exchange rate. These 4 specificities are the cornerstone of any of the forward and the future contract. But the only difference between the forward and the future, forwards and the futures, they are very similar sounding names. And in fact, they are similar to a large extent. The only difference between the forwards and the future is that the forwards are never traded in exchange. They are tailor-made contracts. It's between you and the bank. You can never sell them in the secondary market. The secondary market, let me give an example. Let's say I run a company, Uvascular based, and I'm going to make an export to Australia. But the money which will come to me will come after 6 months. I'm afraid of what? And the Australian client will pay me in Australian dollars, whereas my local home currency is euro. Please tell me, what is my fear? I send the ship today from Helsinki, but the money will hit my bank account not before, let's say, September. What is my biggest worry Anybody can? William? Yeah.
The depreciation of the Australian dollar.
Depreciation of Australian dollar. I'm afraid that Australian dollar would depreciate, and when it depreciate, what will happen? I will get less money in euros. I will get less money in euros. Let me give you, let me put the numbers. I make a sale of 2 million or 20 million. Australian dollars. All right. For the sake of simplicity, assume that a euro is equal to 1 Australian dollar. Just assume. It means that I will get 20 million euros if nothing changes, if everything remains at today's exchange rate. Yeah. But the problem starts if I keep my position naked, uncovered, unhedged, and the day I am going to get the money from Australia, on that day, the Australian dollar is for half a euro. Guess what? My revenue will not be 20 million euros. It will be 10 million euros. Guess what? I can lose 50% of my revenue. I can be fantastic in technology. I have the best of machine. Everything is fantastic. But just because of the currency fluctuation, I can potentially lose money. Then I go to the forward contract. The forward contract, I go to the bank. I go to Nordea. And I say that, could you give me, I want to buy the forwards. They say, which forward? I say, I want Australian dollars forward, 20 million Australian dollars. The day of maturity is, let's say, 5th of September, 2019. And the rate of exchange, they offer me, we negotiate. And the rate comes to be 1 Australian dollar is equal to 97 cents, let's say, European cents. And I say, lock in. Lock in means final. No, nothing on earth can change this contract. So that is why the forwards are tailor-made. There is no secondary market. Secondary market example. Imagine the day I make this contract, 2 days later, I come to know that my contract is cancelled. Now, somebody in Uvascula is also making a sales to Australia. And I find that person and I take him with me to the bank. I say, hey, I'm sorry to bother you, but my contract is cancelled. But don't worry. Can you cut my name and put his name? Because he will have the same situation, because he has sold goods to Australia, same amount, same thing, same date of maturity. Nothing has changed. Only you need to change is the name. They would say, dare not ask us. It would never happen. Because there is no secondary market. I cannot sell my contract to somebody else. They would never change it. But this is possible here in futures. So for example, I signed a contract today and 2 days later, I find that I think I need to walk out of this contract. I don't have to request, plead, anybody. I can simply go to the market and sell my contract with head high. I'm not requesting anybody. Because there is a secondary market available for the futures. It means that if I buy a future now, I can sell it next hour if it suits me. Imagine I buy Australian dollar for Australian dollar 1 equal to euro 1, right? And after a few minutes, what happened? The price of Australian dollar go up. Now it's 1.5 euros. You know what? Potentially, I can increase my revenue by 50% for doing nothing. I simply sell at 1.5. All right. Then the question is, who am I? Am I the person who was going to sell a shipload of products to Australia, actual delivery of products, actual transfer of money? But now, when I say that I bought a future now, and after a few hours, the Australian dollar appreciates and I sell and make money, then the question is, who am I? If I'm a genuine exporter, importer, then futures are not my cup of tea, because I need to either take money from abroad or send money abroad. So there is a fixed date of delivery where I have to either receive money or pay money. But if I'm a speculator, if I have lots of money and I know that I want to make advantage of market fluctuation, then forward, why am I locking myself in forwards? In the forwards, nothing would change. I have to take the delivery of Australian dollar, which I don't need because I'm a speculator. If I have this itch for speculation, then I should never buy forwards. I should buy futures because I can sell them any moment, anywhere, anytime. When the contract is signed, again, there are 4 specificities. Specific amount, 2 million or 20 million, but it's a notional. Notional means just a token value, not real value. For example, if you are in America and you want to buy a pound contract in America, minimum contract is 62,500 pounds. It's a minimum contract. So there is a specific amount. It has to be a specific currency, right? And time period, because you can't keep it unlimited for life, you can't do it. Normally for the futures, the time period is less because you are waiting. The moment the good time comes, you strike, you walk out. Okay, so you don't keep, normally the forwards have the longer period, but the futures don't have such a long period. And of course, there's a rate of exchange we agree upon. But the only thing which makes you different from the forward is that in the forward, you are a genuine business person, investor, trader, exporter, importer. But in futures, you are not really getting anything from Australia. You're not really sending anything to Canada, but you have a hunch that maybe Canadian dollar would go down, sell it now, and buy when the price goes down, if your assessment turns true. And for Australian dollar, you buy them now, sell them later, because you feel that Australian dollar is more likely to appreciate. Do you get my point? So you buy Australian dollar so that you sell them when they become expensive. You know, finance world is very strange world. Normally, you first buy and sell later, isn't? If you are a trader, if you are an industrialist, what do? Well, you buy some inputs. Those inputs are processed in the factory. The product is ready, and then you sell it. But you never sell first and buy later. In finance, you can do it. You can sell something first. How? Imagine you have a strong reason to believe that Canadian dollar would depreciate. Means the Canadian dollar's value will go down against euro in the future. It means now comparatively Canadian dollar's value is high. Sell it. Wait till the Canadian dollar goes down. When it goes down, buy it. So the order is not always buy first and sell later. It could be sell first and buy later. And one more addition to your vocabulary. When you buy first and sell later, the normal, traditional way is called long position. It is called long position. When you buy first, then sell. But we have also a position called short position. When you sell first, buy later. So one day you can be standing, like I will try this time in Paris that I'm standing near Eiffel Tower. And I ask somebody, hey, do you want to buy Eiffel Tower? I'm interested to sell. So I want to see how many people would buy it. So when you can sell something and they say, do you own Eiffel Tower? I said, no, I don't own it, but I can sell it on the promise that I can buy it later when the price of Eiffel Tower drops. Well, I hope the tower doesn't drop, if not the price. So there is a way that you can sell first and buy later. But this is only possible if there is a secondary market. If there is a secondary market. The biggest market of futures is called LIFE, L-I-F-F-E. It's called London, I think, International Financial Futures Exchange. But if you Google LIFFE, you will not get anything liffe.org. No, you will not get. You will get Euronext, because this exchange was acquired by Euronext a few years ago. So nowadays that exchange is taken care of. But LIFE is the biggest market of financial futures. But of course, there are some small markets also. And of course, there is a trading in Helsinki also about this. But now you know the idea, what future is. The difference between the forwards are rigid, lock-in, no looking back, irreversible process, one-way ticket to the blue. You can't come back. You sign the contract, you have to honor it. In future, there's a flexibility. You buy something, you don't need it, okay, sell it. Forget about need. You buy something because it's cheaper. You sell it when expensive. Sell when you think price today is high, buy when the price drop. Shorting is a very important but very risky part of financial world. Haven't you ever thought that, hey, today the Microsoft or Apple stock price is very high, but I wish I had them. I haven't bought them. So you're only, what is it called? Tantalizing effect, that I wish I had it. Had I got Apple stock, I could have sold it today and made a lot of money. But don't worry, you can still earn it. Short it. Call your broker. Ask him, I want to sell Apple. And he would say, you don't have Apple stock. Well, I should say Apple stock, not apples. That doesn't mean that you go to Prisma and start. Well, there are plenty of apples there. So you say that I want to sell Apple. And he says, you don't have Apple. Don't worry. Can you short it? Short means sell, which you don't own. He does. But then you take the promise, you give a promise that in a certain time period, you would bring those stock back to broker. So within a given time frame, you have to buy back Apple and give it to the broker and say, thank you so much. All right? So you have to wait for the good time when the price drop and you buy it. And then let's say today the stock price of Apple is 500 euros. All right, sell. And you have 6 months time window, broker has given you, and you're waiting for a time when the price drop. And in 3 months time, the price drops to 300, buy it, give it to broker, that's it. This is called shorting. Shorting is like loan. You take a loan and then you return it. Longing is deposit, that you give the money in the bank, deposit, and then you withdraw with interest. So these techniques, shorting and longing, is very, very important. The problem is that shorting is very risky because it happened that, let's say, I borrow from a bank and bank borrow from another bank and so on and so forth. If in this chain, there is a crack in one link, then it would have a knock-on impact for the rest of the stakeholders. And this is what happened in the housing market in the US during the financial crisis time. that people were getting so much of loan. There was a race between banks to attract the, the clients. And the banks were not giving any proper attention. No, what is it called? No prudency rules were followed. They were just giving loans because it was a market pressure. And they were hoping that nothing would go wrong because everything is going in a system. System will continue. What happened that at some stage, one or two banks started feeling this heat that people who borrow from them are defaulting. And the impact of defaulting went to the bank X. And then it was a contagious effect on bank Y, bank Z, and so on and so forth. So the shorting can be super risky. Yeah. One thing you should be aware that you can, even the futures have the expiry date. Remember, it's very important to understand that in case of forward, there is time 0 and time 1. Time 0 is when you make a contract and time 1 is expiry day. In case of forward, there is a crater, there is a wedge, there is a big hole between time 0 and time 1. Time 0 when you sign the contract, and time 1 is the date of maturity. Nothing happens. You wait till the end of the contract. But in futures, something is happening all the time. You are getting richer or poorer all the time. Then the question is that, should you wait till the end of the period? No way. 99.999% of the future contracts, they are over before you go this point. Reason is obvious. Your purpose is to become richer. And the moment something clicks you make a deal, and you walk out of the contract. And if you keep the contract till the end of the period, then there is no difference between forwards and the futures. The only point the future are same as the forward, you buy a future and keep till the end of expiry day. Then there is no difference between forwards and the future. But then why would you do it in the first place? Then buy forwards. If you have the speculative instinct, never buy forwards. But yeah, so in that case, you should rather purchase or make a contract to buy futures, right? And if you want to sail on two boats, that all right, whichever is convenient, I can. Well, in that case, you have a choice. You can have a hybrid. You can make some, yeah. Mm-hmm.
If a company decides to get a future contract from one of the brokers, and they decide to send it out before the deal actually happens, because they are going to get more money out.
Well, it doesn't take too long before the deal is struck. Nowadays, everything is computerized.
Yeah, but in case.
Yeah. Well, unless the both parties approve, the contract is not valid. I mean, you are negotiating, yeah?
Yeah.
Unless the negotiation is completed and both parties mean the broker and yourself, agree, sign, it's not. Well, nowadays there's no signing because it's all dematerialized. So it's all when you click, like normally when you accept the conditions on internet and say yes and click OK, that is contract.
Before I ask this question, what is the time limit of a future contract?
Well, it can be for many years also, but normally it's not kept for a very long time period. 5 years, 10 years, not more than that. But the forwards can go for many, many years, 30, 40 years, especially when you are a state government and you buy the forward contract because you're building roads and networks of dams and bridges and flyovers, then those infrastructure projects can last for many years, especially when you are a newly independent or a newly emerging economy.
come back to the question. If my company is going to make a deal every 2 years, I approach a broker for a future contract, and we sign a contract for 2 years.
Yeah.
I find an opportunity where I can give the contract to someone else.
Yeah.
And sell it off.
Of course you can.
So I sell off the contract before the deal, my main deal goes through.
Yeah.
And I make some money out of it.
Yeah.
How does it translate into the statement?
Well, then there is a, if you look at the financial statements, there is a item in the income statement, gain or loss on derivatives. So you acknowledge it as a gain, but not your main business gain. Remember, because this is not your main business. You are just want to take advantage of the market. And I'm not using the word profit. I'm saying gain. Make sense? Yeah. All right. Yes. I'm happy that you're asking questions. Yes.
There has to be something that makes the future contract
There
hard to sell in the second.
Is anything what?
Is there something that makes the future contracts hard to sell in the second market?
No. As a matter of fact, one indicator of the good markets is that how conveniently you can buy and sell them. So if there's a market where buying and selling of these such contract is complicated, cumbersome, lengthy, procedural delays, it's a sign of a bad market.
Because I'm thinking from the perspective of that actually lock it down by the quantity and the type of item that you made a contract for. Then if it's not a big market for such item or commodity that you're trying to buy or sell.
Well, then, yeah. Well, if the market is small, then nobody would offer you that big contract. Because see what, you have the willingness to buy. Let's say you want to buy millions and billions, right? But the market either is too small,
right? It behaves in smaller amounts,
or the regulator in the market is very strict, and they are gauging. They are, there is a surveillance system which is sensing your intentions. That why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? What's the purpose?
So you need to know the market.
Exactly. Yes. So these are highly regulated market. Believe me. Even though these are markets, but they're not free markets. These are highly regulated market. Otherwise, what will happen? These rich hedge funds, they can create havocs in the market. How? One day in the morning, they would buy lots of dollars in Helsinki. What will happen? The price of dollar would go up. And then in 15 minutes, they sell it and make money and walk out. That would be catastrophic. That's obnoxious. The regulators would not let it happen. So this is a very highly strict, very strict market. Now it's not like buying shampoo, this is more regulated. There's no regulatory requirements to buy how many shampoo bottles you want to buy, but in this case, there is a regulation. Did I answer? Yes. Good. Coming back to this time, this thing, even though, as I said, 99.99 cases, you will not keep the futures till the end of the period. But still, there has to be some expiry date. Normally, there are 4 expiry dates in a year for the futures: March, June, September, and December. But it doesn't mean that you have to wait till the end of March. But there has to be some date: March, June, September, and December. And normally it's the third Wednesday of a month, third Wednesday of June, third Wednesday of September, third Wednesday of December. All right. But this is only for the sake of technical thing. It doesn't really make any difference. And this is how. This is very important. Can you see here? These are the standard contracts in American markets. So if you are in New York and you want to trade in the euro future contracts, then the size of the contract, minimum one contract, for one contract, the size is 125,000 euros. All right? Does it make sense? So this is not something which you really have to have a lot of money to do the trading in this case. And if you are in the US and you want to trade in the British pounds, then 62,500. And if for Swiss franc is this much, for the Canadian dollars for this much, for Australian dollar is this much. And one more thing, we calculate the profit and loss till the 4 decimal points. This is very strange. When you go to the retail market, did you say Thomas Cook? Anyone. The rates are published to 2 decimal places. 2 decimal places. But when you are doing this trading, your profit loss is calculated for the 4 decimal places. And this 4th decimal place is called a tick. Because it's difficult to say how much is your gain. Oh yes, my gain is 0.0001. It's so complicated. But this 0.0001 is called a tick. And I will explain it, don't worry now. At the end of the day, you find how many ticks you got, you earned, and how many ticks you lost. Let's say, let me do an example. Well, the example is here already. Let's say you are in New York and euro 1 is equal to dollar 1.3958. And you have how many contracts? You have 1 contract, and the euro contract, by the way, is how many euros you can buy in 1 contract? 125,000 euros. Yeah, is it? You buy it. After a few moments, the price is 13959. First of all, tell me, did you gain or lost? You gain. Because you bought at this rate. You didn't really buy, but it was agreed that you can buy at this rate. The price went up. All right. It means that if you bought at this price, now you can sell at this price. All right. And the difference is, now you will not say that I gained 0.0001. You say I gained one tick. So your gain is 1 tick. How much you gained? Multiply this with this. So if you multiply 0.0001 with this, it comes to be 4 zeros are lost. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have earned $12.50. But you may have thousands of such contracts, so it can be big money, yeah? But let's say after some time, after 2 hours, the price is 1.3939. You have lost 20 ticks because you lost how much? 0.0020. And because we calculate to the 4th decimal point, which is here, but it's 20, so 21, it means you lost 20 ticks. Okay, so 1 tick we just found is 12.50, and 20 ticks would be $250. So it means that in few moments you are losing $250 for 1 contract. But if you have 1,000 contract, then you can lose in millions in few minutes. But do you get my point? But can I ask you one thing? This contract, the contract was to buy pounds or sell pounds? Because you can go both way. You can buy and sell. The contract was to buy or sell?
It was to sell to the broker.
No. The contract was to buy. Because you bought this contract at this price. The price went up.
Right.
But then you say, hey, I have something whose price has risen, sell it. Because as I said, you don't have to wait till the end. You can walk out. If you have bought futures, the opposite action is that sell it. You bought at 1.3958, sell at 1.3959 and walk out. But let's say if you miss this opportunity and after some time the price goes down, then you're losing. So every time the price going down from the agreed price, you are losing. When you have agreed to buy futures. But imagine you agree to sell. You agree to sell. Here you are losing, but here you are gaining. Tell me something. When you buy a house with the intention to sell it, you're living in the house or you're renting it out, whatever. But your intention is that the moment I get the good price, I would sell my house. You buy the house at this price. Now, in the future, if the house price goes up, is it a good potential or a bad potential? Good potential. And if the price drops, bad. So when you buy, every subsequent increase in the price is good for you. And any decrease in the price is bad for you. But let's say I sold the house already at this price. And the next day price went up. Good finance, bad finance. Bad finance. And what if you sold the house already and then the price went to this? Good finance or bad finance? Good finance, because lucky you are, you got more money. Had you not sold at this price, you would have got less price then. So it's very important to see who you are. Are you taking the long position or the short position? Long, when you buy to sell later. Short, you sell to buy later. You get my point? It's very important to know who you are. One more example about it. There is a reason I took this example. I want to prove 2 points with this. First of all, I want to prove how the futures function in the market. And second and more important point is that I want to prove that if you keep future till the end of the period, then there is no difference between forward and future. So I want to prove these 2 things. You buy, look, you buy. So it's sure that it's a buy first, sell later contract. So you took which position? Long position. You buy Swiss franc contract. Sorry. And this contract, I'm keeping it simple. Let's say this contract will mature in 2 days' time. All right. The next day, the price went up. So the Swiss franc is now not 0.7500. Remember, always write to the 4 decimal points. If not, then put more zeros by yourself. The next day, price went to 0.7550. Good finance, bad finance. How many ticks you get? 50. So if you see the difference between these 2 prices and multiply by the 1 contract, you know how much is the contract size for Swiss franc? It was, the minimum contract is 125,000 Swiss franc contract. I'm sorry, I'm not using CHF here, I'm using SFR, but basically it means Swiss franc. That's what I'm trying to say. The right symbol is CHH. I don't know what it means, but it's CHH for Swiss franc. You gain $625 in one day, yeah? Unfortunately, the next day price drops to 0.7430. Do you gain or lose? Lose. How much you lose? 120 ticks. Or if you find the difference between the two prices and multiply by 125,000, you have lost 1,500. On Thursday, the price drops to 0.7400. Gain or lose? Gain or loss? How much? 30 ticks? 375. And remember, this is also the date of expiry of the contract. First of all, let's see. Before you, now the contract is expired, so you are at this stage, yeah? When now you have to take this contract. And what was the contract, by the way? To buy or sell? To buy. It means that now this is the date of expiry. You must buy Swiss franc by paying American dollars. How many? 125,000. Okay. Now let's calculate your loss or gain. Well, you gained 625 on the first day. You lost 1,500 on second day, and then you lost 375 on third day. So if I adjust your pluses and minuses, your loss is 1,250 American dollars. Okay, but that's not the end. You not only have to pay 1,250 to your broker, but remember, this is the expiry day. You have to buy Swiss franc. How many? 125,000. By paying what price? Well, the final price is 74. So multiply 125,000 Swiss franc with 0.74 American dollars. It comes out to be 92,500 American dollars, the home currency. But you also adjust for the loss, which is 1,250. So altogether, there's a cash outflow. There's a cash outflow of 92,500 plus 1,250. And how much is this? 92,500 plus 1,250. So you not only pay for the loss, but you also buy futures. So this is 94,000 American dollars, isn't it? Sorry? 9,375, yeah? Okay. Now imagine this contract was not future, but forward. So suddenly change your thinking. It's not future, but forward. 75 American cents, 125,000, what? Swiss franc. So the contract says specific currency, Swiss franc, specific amount, 125,000, specific date, Thursday, closing, specific rate of exchange, 75 cents. And if you multiply 125,000 Swiss franc with 75 American cents, it will be exactly equal to 93,750, which is same as the futures. In other words, if you keep futures till the end of expiry, then there is no difference between forwards and futures. But don't forget that it's a very tiny fraction of futures which you keep till the end of the period, right? One thing I forgot to mention, that we use a phrase called marked to market. Can you see your phrase here? It means that the market is marking you every day. When I say that you got 50 ticks on first day, you lost 120 ticks on second day, you lost 30 ticks on third day. It means what? It means market is marking you. It's like a mark on yourself. So when the market is making you richer or poorer every day, we use in terms of financial jargons, we call it marked to market. So your position is marked to the market every day. If you buy the contract and the prices go up, you are positively marked. But if the price drops, subsequently, you are unfavorably or negatively marked. But when you sell the contract and then price increases, you are marked unfavorably. But if the price drops, you are marked positively. Like the example of house I gave you, that if you buy the house, the price go up, good for you. But you sold the house and the price went up, bad for you. So every price increase or decrease, you should be decode by assuming who you are. Are you a buyer or a seller? Have you taken a long position, which means buying? Or have you taken the short position, which means sell? It's a very philosophical question. You must know who you are. We spend our life in knowing ourselves, right? And then somebody tells you that, hey, who you are? Who are you? Oh, yes, I'm working on who I am. Okay, all right, we take a break now. And then when we resume, then we shall discuss options. And let's make a decision. Let's keep it simple. I mean,